Hey, so today we are going to talk about how to avoid your work in progress burnout. How to avoid getting stuck in your blog post writing in the first place, and then how to get unstuck once you get there. This topic came from Melissa, so thank you, Melissa, for that. Um, this used to happen to me a lot. I have a whole bunch of like 7/8 finished blog posts just sitting in WordPress. So they even made it into WordPress, and for one reason or another, I just lost momentum on them, and walked away from them and never came back. And I think this happens a lot. There's probably like an endless sea of blog posts in a graveyard somewhere. Hi, Andrea. Andrea's here this morning. How are you? It's so good to see you. Yeah, so there's like a few things that I did to make this stop happening for me. So this used to happen a lot. Like I said, I still have that blog post graveyard. It doesn't happen to me so much anymore. And something that helped a lot was an outline. So when I am thinking about a blog post topic, I do a quick outline for it. And then when I go to write it, I start with the header that I am most excited about, because momentum builds on momentum. So if I'm writing a blog post on puppies, and let's say I'm going to cover potty training, grooming, and leash training, right? And I'm just like super stoked about leash training. I have so much to say about it. I'm going to start with leash training. You want to start with the header that you have the most to say about and that you are the most excited to write about, because that momentum will build upon itself and it'll make it easier to write the rest of the post. Another thing that helped me a lot, of course, you guys know this, being in the Blog Daily 7-Day Blog Writing Challenge, is to stick to a blogging schedule. My blogging routine really changed my life. Having a set time that I am writing every morning and then following that up with blog writing every morning, that made a huge difference in the amount of work I was able to produce and finish and actually get like published out into the blogosphere. So your routine is your friend. Remember that your routine's your friend. It will hold you up. You can fall back on it when you're maybe not feeling so motivated. You can fall back on your routine. It kind of takes the like will I won't I out of blog writing, which takes up a lot of energy, right? To be in that energetic space of am I going to do this, am I not going to do this, that takes up a lot of energy. It's just take the option out of it. Yes, I'm going to do this, and maybe every day won't be like a beautiful masterpiece, but eventually something really good is going to come out if you show up every day and write. So stick to your blogging schedule. If you need help like recreating or revamping your blogging schedule, revisit the material in the Blog Daily 7-Day Blog Writing Challenge, or call me. Another thing I used to do that would kind of kill my blog post writing that I don't do anymore is I used to set these really unrealistic deadlines for myself. So I write really long blog posts. Some of them are like 5,000 words. They're usually never less than 2,000 words. And I create a lot of custom images for them. There's a lot of research that goes into them. They're very time-consuming posts. And I would set this totally unrealistic deadline for myself. Like, okay, I'm going to get this done in 3 days, right? That is not realistic. I now give myself, if I'm writing a 5,000 word post, and I know there's research, heavy editing, lots of custom images and graphs to be made and things like that, I will give myself a full 2 weeks to complete this blog post. So that gives me time to do everything I need to do and to show up every single day and write a little bit every single day. And it takes away the guilt when I don't get it done in 3 days. And those unrealistic timelines were really killing my blog post writing momentum, because what happens when you get to day 3, your deadline, and you're only, like 1/6 of the way through the post. That just is like handing the inner troll inside your head fuel, right? Here, go wild. Let me know all the bad things you have to say about me, right? So don't hand your inner troll any fuel. Create a realistic deadline for yourself. And as you start practicing this, setting a realistic deadline will get easier, because especially if you are just starting blog post writing, you might not know how long it's going to take you. You're kind of guessing, right? So at first 3 days might seem totally reasonable, and then you realize, whoa, this is not enough time at all. That's fine. Just remember that for next time. Remember that for next time. How long did it actually take you? And maybe set a stretch goal. So if it actually took you 10 days to write the blog post, maybe in order to give yourself a little fire, you could say, all right, I want to get this done in 9, right? So you're on a deadline. It's not just like, oh, whenever, I'll get to it. Remember, that energy is no fun to be in. Take the will I, won't I out of it. I will. I'll work on it a little bit every day, and I want to have it done in 9 days. There's a lot of really powerful momentum that comes with being on a deadline that's realistic and that you can achieve. And then once you do achieve it, that's also really powerful. Like the energy that comes with having produced this thing and publishing it and getting it out into the world, that's really powerful, right? You should feel really good about that. Another thing that has helped me avoid getting stuck in the first place is to recognize my work in progress burnout signs. So not necessarily blogging burnout, but burnout on that particular work in progress. So you can kind of tell, right? You can kind of tell when you're getting sick of it, when you might, tap out on it. And again, this is something that's going to come easier with time. So as you are writing more blog posts and you've been here before, you can recognize the signs, right? You're getting a little sick of it. The inner critic inside your head is getting a little louder. You're feeling uninspired about what you're writing about, right? Those are all signs, and the signs are going to be different for everybody. But those are pretty good indicators that you might be getting a little bit burnt out on what you're writing. So once you start to notice those signs, don't push through them. That doesn't work. Don't, force yourself to push through it. Firstly, that doesn't work. Second, if you are uninspired in your blog post writing, your readers will be able to tell, and they won't like reading it, right? So the best thing to do is to kind of get ahead of it, realize that you might be getting a little burnout on your topic, and take a break with a time limit. So a couple things you can try. This is what I do. You can try morning pages. It doesn't have to be in the morning. So, we talk about morning pages in the 7-day blog writing challenge. You just sit down, either longhand or type. I don't really care. You're supposed to do them longhand, but I type them. And you just write out a stream of consciousness for 3 pages. Or whenever you feel like the catharsis has happened, right? Whenever you feel better, you can stop. Just type out that stream of consciousness. Get all that stuff out of your head, because it's literally in the way of your creative energy. All that crap that floats around in our head, the negative self-talk, the to-do lists, all the things, I'm a little sore this morning, the things that are niggling at our brains, they are in the way of our creative energy, and we've got to get them out of the way. So that's one thing that I do when I'm starting to realize that I am burnt out on a particular project. Stop and morning page it out. And if that doesn't help, like if you are still feeling 100% uninspired with your work in progress, I would take a break. take a break, but give it a time limit and make it super intentional, because it's really easy to take a break and never come back, right? And then we end up with the blog post graveyard. so, um, so what I would do is take a break, set a time limit, make it super intentional. So tell yourself, I'm going to take a 1 day break from this work in progress, and when I come back to it, I am going to feel refreshed, renewed, and inspired about my topic, right? And reframe it as, this is the best thing I can do to work on this blog post right now. So it's not like you're not working on your blog. It's not like I feel so guilty, I should be writing this blog post. It's, I am taking a very intentional, set time limit break from this piece of writing to get some perspective. And when I come back to it a day later, or whenever your time frame is, I am going to feel refreshed, renewed, and inspired. I do this all the time. It really works for me. It's been a while since I've added to the blog post graveyard. So, and then I also wanted to cover what happens when you get stuck, right? So let's say that all of these things don't work. Avoiding getting stuck in the first place, right? And now you're stuck. So one thing that I would really encourage you to do, and really we could all do this, like we could all go today to our blog post graveyard within WordPress, where we all know we have it, where we have 20 blog posts almost done languishing there, right? And pick one at random, take a look at it, and ask yourself, what if you just hit publish on it? What if you did? What if you tidied up the loose ends and polished it off with some editing just the way it is? If it doesn't have a conclusion, add a conclusion intro, and then just hit publish. It would probably be okay. It would probably be okay, because a lot of the times when we get to that burnout point, we are almost done writing it, right? Is your audience really going to notice if your 8th header isn't there? Probably not. They're probably going to feel like they just read a pretty good blog post, right? So I think that a lot of the times our standards are unreasonably high because we know what we wanted it to be. We wanted it to be this big, bombastic, like, blog post to end all blog posts. And we reached 95% of that goal, so in our head it's not done, right? What if it is done? Ask yourself that. What if it is done, right? Done is better than perfect. And maybe perfect isn't what you think it is. So that's the first thing I would consider if you're really stuck. Maybe just consider that it actually is done. The next thing to do is, and actually I learned this from Pam on The Office. I love The Office, you guys have probably noticed. So I learned this from Pam on The Office when her and Michael quit and they're starting a business together, and Michael just wants to make French toast all day. So she says to make a list of everything you need to do and start with the easiest thing. Hi, Crystal. Good morning. Crystal's here. And this really works. This is sort of like making an outline in the beginning and starting with the thing you are most excited about, right? It's the easiest thing to do because you're most excited about it. So if you look at your blog post and you decide, no, this really isn't done, make a list of what it would take to get it done. If it's a couple of headers that aren't filled out, make like mini outlines of those headers. So let's go back to my my puppy blog post example. If the header that I'm stuck on is potty training, I'm going to go back and I'm going to make a list of what I would need to do, or an outline of what I would need to do to finish the potty training section. And then I'm going to start with the easiest thing, the thing I'm most excited to write about, right? And then again, momentum builds on momentum. Crystal says she gets stuck formatting and adding images and stuff. The writing will be done, but that stuff just bleh. Yeah. That stuff, especially, it can drag on for a long time. And what I would say to you is that maybe it doesn't need to be done. Like maybe some of the stuff that we think needs to be done doesn't need to be done. I'm all for editing. I don't like releasing things into the world without care, but I don't think any of us are doing that here. We all care a lot, which might be why we're getting stuck on formatting and adding images and stuff. Yeah. So, Crystal, you're in the homeschooling niche, so do you have to like take a lot of your own pictures and things like that? Because I could see that being a roadblock. And I wonder what we could do about that. Like, I wonder if, I always do my images and whatnot at the end because I create a lot of custom images. I don't really know what I'm going to need until I'm done. Oh, you say no custom images. Okay. I always do them at the end. And, at that point, you kind of do feel like you're just sick of this and you just kind of want to throw it up there, right? And I wonder if there's a way to make images and whatnot easier. Or if it's just practice. The Canva images used to take me a really long time. And now they're pretty quick, depending on the image. Another thing another thing that really works for getting unstuck. So when you get to the point where you're really, really stuck and uninspired is to get inspired. So listen to a podcast about your topic. I love doing this. Like I'll go on a walk and listen to a podcast about my topic and I'll get like re-fired up about it. And I'll realize that I have a lot of stuff to say about this and I still need to say it, right? I'll read an article. I'll read a book. I'll go back to the top 3 posts on Google about this topic and I'll reread them. So this is something that I do as part of my blog topic research anyway. I am going to Google and I am fleshing out my competition. Who holds those top 3 spots? What are they saying? Do I disagree with any of their points? Are they missing any points? Like how can I outvalue them with my post? And so sometimes revisiting those 3 and remembering where you stand on the topic and what you want to say about the topic, that can really like light your fire. Crystal says, rarely, mostly just Canva images and stuff. I've been just publishing it without images or bolding and adding italics. Yeah, I think that's fine. If you can do that instead of not publishing it, I mean, that's 100% better, right? Right? That's 100% better than them just languishing away in the blog post graveyard. And then maybe you can go back later and add in images when you feel like it, when you're all inspired again, right? That is better than just walking away from it, for sure. So, and then if you are stuck on the conclusion or the intro, I write those last, and I write them very similar to one another because a lot of people they'll kind of skim the intro and then they'll scroll all the way down, kind of stopping and looking at your headers along the way, and then they'll read your conclusion. So I make them both kind of similar, I want to have a hook. I want to tell them what they're going to get out of reading this article. And just in the conclusion, I kind of flip it on its ear, like, here's what you got out of reading this article. Aren't you so glad you did it? So then they'll go back and read it. So if you're stuck on the conclusion or intro, answer 3 questions. So what? Why should they care? I.e., what's in it for me? And what do you want me to do about it? So you taught them all about puppies. So what? Right? How is this going to benefit their life? Why should they care? How's it going to benefit their life? What's in it for them? What do you want them to do about it? So in the intro, you want them to go on and read the rest of the blog post because they are going to be able to raise a happy, healthy puppy that's going to be obedient and not peeing on their floor. And then in the end, in the conclusion, what do you want me to do about it? I want you to download my opt-in, right? something like that, some sort of call to action. But if you're really stuck on if you're really stuck on the conclusion or the intro, just answering those 3 questions can really kind of get your brain firing, right? Yeah, Andrea says podcasts help a ton. Can't wait for yours, Kelly. Yeah, I'm gonna get there someday. I think I actually will just put these in podcast format. That would be pretty easy? Question mark. Yes, so that's what I have to say about work in progress burnout, how to avoid getting stuck in the first place, and how to get unstuck if you actually do end up in that rut. I know it's not a fun place to be. It's really easy to beat yourself up about it, but you can turn it around, and you can make it to where it doesn't happen as often. If it's something that you keep running into over and over and over, you can try changing up your routine, changing up how you write your blog posts. I didn't used to use outlines. Outlines are a godsend. I love them now. So, if you don't use an outline, try using an outline. Maybe if you write in the morning, try writing at night. Just kind of play and see what happens. A and B test that shit. All right, blogging friends. Thank you so much for being here. This was fun. If you need help getting unstuck, you can always reach out to me. I'm here. Okay, tomorrow we are going to talk about how to write for SEO and still make the writing sound natural. Sometimes when we finish writing our blog post, we'll scroll down to the Yoast plugin and it will have a whole bunch of red and yellow lights telling us to go amend our blog post writing, and then we do. And then it sounds really weird and disjointed. There's a way to appease the SEO gods and make your writing still really fun and natural and a good read for your readers. So that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. I will see you then. Thanks, guys. That's it for today's edition of Blogging Thoughts with Kelly. Don't forget, if you want your blogging questions answered, you can join the free Facebook group using the description below. Also, feel free to share, follow me, subscribe, like, all the things, so we can be blogging besties. Until next time, this is Kelly, signing off.